Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's edition, Paul Demain. Many of the stories and information we're giving today can be found at our website, www.indiancountrynews.com, where your online membership help supports this television station. Here are some of the news updates for the day from the wires and other Native news sources. The former chairman of the Cape Cod Mashpee Wampanoag has agreed to plead guilty to violating campaign finance laws while working with convicted lobbyist Jack Abramoff. Glenn Marshall of Mashpee agreed to plead guilty to 5 counts, including making illegal campaign contributions to members of Congress, embezzling tribal funds, filing false tax returns, and fraudulently receiving Social Security disability benefits. He is the former chairman of the Wampanoag, members of which attended what is historically considered the first Thanksgiving on the East Coast. The tribe sought and received federal recognition in 2007 and has been buying land and pushing plans to build a casino. Among other charges, investigators allege Marshall used individuals, including members of his family and council members, as straw contributors to make political contributions. They said he then reimbursed himself and them with money from an account funded by a company hoping for a stake in any casino the tribe might have built. In Sawyer County, Wisconsin, 32-year-old Lonnie Quagan of the Lakota Reservation was sentenced to 8 years in prison for the death of 1-year-old William Fowler Jr., or better known as Baby Bill. Quagan will also serve 10 years of supervised release for his conviction on second-degree reckless homicide on the May 7, 2007 death of Baby Bill. Testimony during trial indicated that the infant had sustained numerous injuries over a period of time which were consistent with child abuse. Quagan's attorney had argued during pre-sentencing that while Quagan was convicted of the key charge, the sources of some of Baby Bill's injuries were still unknown. Family members of Quagan indicated that in the past he had a reputation of being good with kids, making the events leading up to Fowler's death even harder to understand. A lack of internal controls by tribes, a greater law enforcement focus on corruption, and human nature may all factor into a series of recent cases related to Oklahoma tribes, a federal prosecutor has said. A federal jury recently convicted a former secretary-treasurer of the Apache tribe on 33 embezzlement counts, accusing her of diverting tribal tax revenues into a bank account she controlled. In another case, an ex-member of the Seminole Nation Council pleaded guilty to obstruction of the due administration of justice stemming from allegations he accepted bribes from a tribal casino supplier in exchange for his power to impact tribal business transactions. John Richter, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Oklahoma, said it's not always fair to generalize about these issues, but what is being seen in some recent tribally related cases occurs to some degrees in any institution, be it political or financial. What we find in these investigations is individuals who have essentially used tribal funds as their own personal piggy banks, said Richter, whose office handled the Apache tribal case and a series of cases involving former officials with the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. Instead of serving as duly elected officials or public officials and meeting the fiduciary responsibilities to use tribal funds to the benefit of tribal members, these individuals have chosen to use tribal funds for their own personal benefit. One of 2 men set to stand trial in Rapid City, South Dakota on February 24th for the 1975 slaying of Anime Piktuakwash on the Pine Ridge Reservation wants more juror challenges. John Graham and Richard Marshall have both pled not guilty to charges they committed or aided and abetted the murder of Akwash. Graham's lawyer says because of the extensive coverage of the killing in the media, books, television, movies, and internet, each defendant should be allowed 15 preemptory challenges used to pick a jury. Other issues likely to come up that could influence jurors include the 1973 occupation of Wounded Knee, the murder of 2 FBI agents on the Pine Ridge Reservation in June of 1975, and the alleged membership of these individuals involved with the American Indian movement. And both men also have different defense theories, which may make things a little bit more difficult when presented in front of the same jury. A ruling December 16th from the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld a federal judge's decision in a South Dakota case concerning Native American voting rights. In 2002, the American Civil Liberties Union brought the lawsuit on behalf of 2 Native Americans, saying a voter redistricting plan in the city of Martin, South Dakota would dilute Indian voting strength. At first, the federal district court ruled for the city. The plaintiffs appealed, and the 8th Circuit Court reversed the lower court and sent the case back. 2 years ago, federal judge Karen Schreier of Rapid City ordered Martin to redraw its city council district boundaries because the existing districts violated American Indian voting rights. The 8th Circuit ruling affirms the original ruling. The Charcusta News from the Flathead Reservation in Pablo, Montana is reporting that the Kicking Horse Job Corps Center there now ranks in the top 10 of such institutions in the United States. The center received 5 performance awards recently at the Job Corps Regional 4 Leadership Conference in Dallas, Texas, where the director of the center, Joe DuBois, brought the good news back to the staff and tribe. The center is one of 122 Job Corps centers in the United States. This program, serving disadvantaged youth ages 16 to 24, is operated by the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. The last graduates for 2008, recently honored there during late November, were Angela Weber, Jesse Blackbonnet Jr., Catherine Kelly, Rachel Shore, and Sylvia Darling. Also from Pablo, Montana, the Salish Kootenai College Lady Bison's basketball team's recent round trip to Walla Walla, Washington has led to mixed results. In their first game during early December, the Lady Bison beat Portland Community College 65-52, but the next day the Lady Bisons lost to Walla Walla Community College 103-53. Earlier this week, we reported that Chelsea Pringle was missing from the Lakudere Ojibwe Reservation. Her family has indicated that the 14-year-old has been found and returned home safely. Thank you for all those people who were concerned and assisted in finding her. This edition of IndianCountryTV.com and the Native News Update is brought to you with the help of our digital mall partners, powwows.com and nativeview.com, broadcasting from Helena, Montana. Join us again for the next edition tomorrow.